Right, you're on.
Okay, I'll speak about Bosnia again. The Bosnian world's very technical. Um, all the draft flies and nymphs we fished were size 20, 22, 24. Okay, everything is super, super tiny. But they have a hatch called a golden stonefly. You guys know golden stoneflies? They do exist in a country in certain rivers. There are some on the Vaal. But this pattern is very good to imitate your caddis as well as draft flies, turkeys, trout, anything the fish will eat. They eat as a hopper, but it's a really special pattern. So as I said, it's very technical fishing. So they only eat like tiny, tiny flies. But once this hatch comes up, there's two stone flies. I don't know their names. There's a small stone fly and then there's a monster one. Like a good 10 centimeter stone fly. It's incredible. You think it's going to eat you on the river. You know, like, leave my face alone. And the grayling and the brown trout eat the smaller one, and only the brown trout eat the bigger one. So we tied this one imitation. It's one of Adu's flies. It's one of the best ties I've ever met. So obviously I'm not going to do pattern much justice. But this fly, when the hatch came off, was cast for cast. I mean, I had 6 of these in my box. I caught a good, like maybe 10, 15 fish on the ribnick. Then I started throwing stimulators and hoppers, anything big and ugly. And the brown trout would just eat this like Smarties. It was a really realistic pattern. It's got the triggers. It's got the right colors. Unfortunately, we don't have the exact color materials, but we'll do with what we have. When it comes to the legs, I've got goose bites for the advanced guys. The guys that want to compete to win tonight, the competition. And the guys that are just here to have fun, we can use rubber legs. It's probably the hardest part of the fly. So as you'll see, it's got just triggers. So on the bottom there, it's got the split goosebar tail, the stonefly tail. Then it's very important that you have your black dot between the tail. All stoneflies have a big black arse. That's the word for it. Okay, and then it's got the golden stonefly. In the pattern that we tied here, in the pattern we're using in the world, we take it's like a light brown olive CDC, and we dubbed the CDC as the body. They didn't have the color, so we're just going to use normal dubbing. But at home, I'll tie with a CDC body. It just keeps it up the water column, makes it unsinkable. Then we make it. We turn the floss anti-clockwise of a bright yellow. That's a big trigger, so a big floss, and then we put in the legs. Here I've got each side 2 goose bites or turkey bites. Imitate the legs. If you don't want to get technical, you can use rubber legs, and then a 3-layer CDC wing. It's not the right color. We've got a lighter color here, but we spend a lot of time tying flies in this color CDC as well, just so you can see it. The worst thing is to have a really nice dry fly, especially the small dry flies with a dark wing, and on low light conditions you won't be able to spot it. So there's one rule in dry fly fishing: if you can't see your dry fly, don't fish. You have to be able to see your fly to catch fish on a dry fly, unless you get lucky. But that's number 1 rule. The way we fish our dry flies there, not just standard upstream 45-degree dry fly fishing. You can have the most beautiful casts, and the fish would spook every time. We fish downstream dry fly exclusively. The fish saw your atex before it saw the fly, would not eat it. So you'd start fishing from the top of your bead, fishing down. Fish downstream, go down, fish will eat it, you set the hook. No upstream dry fly searching. It's very, very different, very technical. I was fishing a few weeks ago in the crocodile. Water's very low. Caught the odd fish fishing normal dry fly, but then fishing downstream dry fly, calls for cost. Something different we picked up there that we guys don't do here. Something special. Okay, so I'm going to start tying this fly. Any questions, please stop me. It's not a difficult fly, it's just a few little difficult parts throughout the fly. Okay. Any questions so far? No?
What size hook do you normally use?
I normally use a size 10. We have a size 8 here. But it's a big fly, so I'd rather tie too big than too small. I also used it on my lake session as a dry fly. My fish came up for it. But this, I would keep this in my box for if you want a big searching fly, want to take a hopper, a caddis, anything. This is an unbelievable searching pattern. It just has the right triggers. It looks very realistic in the water. Just with the goose bite, the sharp features of the fly. Okay. So, we start off like we tie every fly. cover the thread. Trusty Dr. Slicks. Doesn't get nano silk that well. Okay, then you'll tie in black dubbing first before you tie in the tail. Because you want your tail to be split. The best way to split it is to have a black dot on the tail. The black is very important. All the Stonefly patterns in Bosnia has got that dark bum. So you tap a little bit of black. And once, when we tie all our dry fly, we try to keep everything sparse. With the Stonefly, you want to give it some build. Don't be scared to give it bulk. Especially if the body is CDC, the more bulk you put, the better it's going to float. It's quite a big bum, quite fat. Don't be scared. Yeah, Bushman bum. Bushman bum Stonefly. I like that name. Okay, then if you guys are competing again for tonight, you want the goose bite. You want the thicker fibers. You don't want the sparse ones. You want the ones with some fat, some length to them. It's a very plumpy fly, this. You want it to have the sharp features. So obviously the bottom feathers are going to have the best profile. Okay, so that's your goose bite over there. You see it's concurved outside. You want it to face out. Points facing out, not in. Okay, the length, not that particular. Just as long as it's equal and it's got a good profile. A little bit long. So about that. That's how you want it there. Okay. One. A bit difficult to get them straight. So like that over there. Okay. Quickly going to. I'm just. Oh, wrong way. Can you guys see that? Okay. It's not equal length. I'm not going to redo it because of the camera, but you want them equal. Okay. Then you want to tie in your rib. I think as it comes a little bit thick, so I'd pull a few fibers out. You want it to be, you want the ribbon to stand out. You don't want it to take over the whole flower. Okay, and don't be scared to put it in and use it to create the bulk. The more you put in here to create the bulk, the less dubbing you have to waste. Sorry guys, it's Joe Voss needs to be adjusted. I was tying size 2 puppy roaches last week. Okay, then you get your dubbing. Senzo Laser. Any dubbing. I'd rather take a CDC dubbing or cut fibers of the right color CDC and use that as dubbing. Just helps it float better. Okay. Don't have to be neat here. You don't want to taper here. You want it to be equal length throughout the whole flower.
Dubbing you've got, it's got sparkle in it.
Black dubbing.
So it's sparkle.
Yeah. This is a bit sparkly. It's supposed to be a golden Stonefly dubbing, but it's the closest I can get to the golden Stonefly. Okay, and don't be scared. It must have some bulk. It doesn't have to be neat. But you'll see I'll have equal length throughout the whole flower. And it's very important that every river the stonefly hoppers can be different color. So this is not the color. This is the pattern, and you go to your river and find the stonefly or hopper, whatever you're going to imitate, and you match those colors. So I just make the equal length throughout the whole flower. And I don't want to see your body's too thin, guys. It must have bulk like this. It's a fat. Okay. Then very important that you take the floss and you spin it, create it into a rope, and then you turn it anti what you did the dubbing, so it stands out more. So it's good. You'll see how it stands out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tie it down. Guys, can see that?
Mm-hmm.
Pulled it quite tight, so there's like bulges in between the ribs. Everyone happy so far? Yep. Now the pattern gets complicated. Okay. I'm going to use goose bite. For the guys that don't want to use goose bite, feel free to use rubber legs like I did on this one here. Okay, so you can use like hopper legs like that. But I'm going to attempt to use the goose bite. I haven't done it in a while. Okay. I'll put a little bit of extra dubbing behind the whole situation there. The issue is that if you don't make it the same bulk, then the legs will be hidden. You want them to be prominent. You want them to stand out. This is your trigger. It's a very different tying style of other flies, because every other fly we tie, we try to keep sparse. This one you need to keep the bulk throughout the fly. So I make it even like that. Then I cut myself 4 goose bites. Okay. I take same direction, pointing outwards. I put the first leg in like that, so a little bit long. The nice thing about the goose bite, it's got a very sharp feature to it. So it's got that point to it, exactly like a stonefly. Okay, and then I'd rather do one each side and then do the second pair. So you do a second one here.
They're sticking out sideways, the same as the tail.
Yeah, outwards. Okay, that's your first pair there. All happy so far? See, it looks like, if you guys have ever seen a stonefly before, looks super realistic already. I'll show you. I've got photos of them on my camera from Worlds. I'll show you. So that's a first pair. Repeat the process. I'm going to put the second one in now. This is where it gets a little bit messy. That's the perfect profile there. That's a part that's difficult to do. Almost touching, but just got that gap. And I'll show you a little cheat after we do this, just to get them a little bit separate. You want them to be just on top of each other. It's very hard to do. I got lucky the first one. Second one I got lucky as well. Okay, I'm going to show you now. Just trim the edges here. Okay, you guys can see how that is. It's beautiful though. What you can do is, if you don't get it right, I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to stuff it up. You can put a little bit of dubbing between your thread, on your thread, and then do one wrap between the legs. So you'll basically go like this, take a little bit of dubbing and go like that, and then you can place them. And if you place them, you can always just drop a bit of head cement or super glue on the head there. I mean, that's the the profile you want. Happy? Oh, that's the best I've come out. I'm happy as well. Okay. Then you're going to take your CDC. Don't be scared to use as many feathers as you can. When you go through the packet, you get two kind of feathers. Depends on the quality of the CDC. You get a straight feather, and you get one with a little bend to it. You want the straight ones. The bend ones you can use for CDC, but your wing needs to be as straight as you can make it. So I'm going to try and find 3 good feathers or 4 average feathers. So that's 1, 2, 3 good feathers there. Okay, you'll see it's got a concave side to it. You want to put all of them together so the concave's facing the wing, so create a wing case. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3. I'm going to match the points together on top of each other. Third one in line, so it's like that. Pull them together and you got yourself a wing. I still don't think it's enough bulk. I always, in this kind of pattern, I always put too much bulk than too little. You can always take out and you want it to float. So I'm going to add a 4th feather there. Pull it together and you've got your wing. Okay. You want the wing to sit flat, give it the profile. The length you want it to be just over the tail. So like that. And the wing over. And the higher you get the wing, the better it's going to dry. If it's too flat on the body, it can absorb water. And when you try to cast it, it takes longer for it to dry. So you want it to be fluffy. I can explain it like that. Okay. Wings tied in to a wrap underneath. Before I cut anything, I always do a whip finish. Okay, lock it into place. Cut it at an angle. I'll do a second whip finish. What I like to do on the Stonefly is I like to put a little bit of permanent mark on the head. I'm not sure if it's meant to. I just like the contrast in colours. And then when you're done here, sometimes the legs move. You can play around with the legs and get them perfect. So it's a golden Stonefly Jarfly. Very pretty pattern and imitates a lot of things. It's got a lot of sharp features. Hopefully you can tie a little better than I did. Very importantly, when we fish Jarfly, the guys in Europe fish a lot of Jarfly. And our guy taught us a very cool technique. You don't treat the Jarfly before you fish it. You fish it as it is. Catch your first fish, then you dry it with toilet paper or any amido. Toilet paper is actually the best. And then you get a silicone spray. Airflow does it. It's called Repel. One spray of it, you dry it in the air, and it floats better than it did from the beginning. Much better than every other. I mean, silicone waterproof spray. It's called 3-ply is the best, but Bosnia they only have single ply, so it took a while. So guys, there's your pattern. Enjoy it. If you find the legs a little bit difficult at the front, it's very important to have the grease spot at the tail. But I mean, even in World, when we rushed to tie them, we used rubber legs as the front legs. But enjoy it. If you've got any questions, let me know. And try tie it. Have some fun. If you guys want to try it and you don't have your stuff here, feel free to come use my advice.